we're going to start off like we normally do over here with my bosses. For July we have pack 74, so starting off with we have a new boss. That looks like a very new one. I don't see any similarities to previous ones. And the next one, that one has been used previously, so that's a reused boss. But not that abnormal. They use previous bosses pretty frequently. It looks like a centaur. It looks like we have a body of a horse here, and then the head and a kind of a trident-looking weapon. Anyway, that is a reused boss. So there's boss number 1 and boss number 2. So let me first of all rename those. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Boss 1 and boss 2. So one of the bosses is new, one of the bosses is a reused one. So that's really not that abnormal. Again, they do that frequently. So let's put this into my new folder here. This is where I'm going to place all my data like I normally do. Now we're going to go into the actual armor data, and as like normal, I'm going to do this like so. Oh, look. I did already look at this somewhat, but I didn't go through every single armor. But this is a reused armor. This is the Salamander Shield, an elite from several months ago. But they've redesigned it, recolored it. It looks pretty similar in general, but it's water and earth now instead of water and fire. So since this being Earth Month, being July, this is going to be earth and water. So this is armor number 1. Earth, water, and that is the male, I believe. Yeah, looks like the male. Alright, and then we go to number 2. That's also a reused armor. That's the Bedeviled Windstaff, which I think was just in the raid rewards for T11 to T40 or whatever it is, the levels below the ones that get the armor for the actual raid itself. So that's the Bedeviled Windstaff, but it's earth and earth? Dual earth. Okay then. So armor number 2 is earth and earth, and that is also the male. It looks like it, I think. Yeah, looks like it. Whoops. Okay, and armor number 3, that's the 3rd time they've used that armor now, except they've just reskinned it from the original one. So that's 3 reskins so far, and that's just barely started. That's water and fire, but water and fire really doesn't belong in this month, so I'm guessing this is going to be some kind of special event like we had with the Decatron. So this is armor 3, water and fire. The original armor, Summertide Mail, was also water and fire, but oh, the head. The head's different. So they're switching things up on us. They're changing the head on the armor. Instead of just recoloring everything, they changed the head out for the one that we just had for the raid, just barely. And by the way, I did actually find a new file in the files for the game that has a new armor as well. I'll show you that here in just a little while once I've gone through this. But this is a water and fire with a new head. So this is the Summertide Mail. Looks pretty similar again to the original one. The shield's a little bit different with these kind of diamond-shaped things on it, but it looks very similar in most respects to the original armor, except obviously for the head. The head's very different, so that's a very clear change. But again, water and fire in an Earth month, so I don't know. That looks like it's also the male. It could be female. It's hard to tell in some of these breastplates. That one, I'm going to say that's female, actually. That looks more like a female sort of look. There's a new one. That's earth and air. So we have the earth swirl, we have the air swirl, and of course we have the air effects that come off the shoulders and whatnot. That's a new armor, and I don't think that looks similar to anything we've had in the game prior. So that looks pretty new, like a brand new one. Earth and air, and that is, I think that's female. That looks female to me. Is that the same? Looks like it's just the next level down. The only difference, if you can see here on the shield, you have kind of these little spikes coming off the top. If I go to the next one, the spikes aren't there. The bottom spike's still there, but not the top one. So this is Evolution 1. But I think that's the same as the previous, so it looks like it's female also. So let's do that really quick. So that's Evolution 1 of the same armor. Now we have, oh, no, I was wrong actually. This one is the male. Let me copy this really quick. I was wrong. That actually is the male version of that Summertide Mail with a different head. So that's the female version of that same armor. So I was wrong. That actually is the female. Okay. apologize for the stuffiness. I've kind of got some allergies going crazy on me. That is, I believe, also the male of the Salamander Shield reskin, so that's going to be this one here, but that's going to be level Evolution 1 of the same armor. There is Evolution 1. Oh, I seem to have been wrong. That Earth and Air, that was actually the male, not the female. So let me rename these really quick. I'll copy that one since that's what this one is. That was actually the male, not the female. So this one is Evolution 1 of the one right here I'm just looking at. So 7 is Evolution 1 of the female. I was wrong. I got the wrong. The breastplates, again, are really hard to tell sometimes. There is the female of the Salamander Shield reskin, and you can tell it's just a little bit more narrow in the chest area in general. The breastplate isn't obvious on this one. Same thing with the original Salamander Shield, it wasn't obvious. So that's the Water and Earth for that one. So that's, sorry, Water and Earth, that's the female of the Water and Earth, number 8. So that's the female, that's the Ascended version. And there is the female of the Earth and Earth. So, female of the Earth and Earth Ascended version. There's a new one. That's Earth and Air also. As you can see, the Earth swirl, the Air swirl. That looks like it's entirely new, and that's definitely the female Ascended version. So this is armor number 4. Or 5, excuse me. Earth and Air, so we have 2 Earth and Airs back to back. So that's the female Evolution 2. There's reskin number 4. That is the Spirit and Earth from, was it season 7, 8? No, I think maybe season 9. Anyway, it's been a while ago. So that's the, originally Spirit and Earth, that's the female. But now it's Earth and Fire. So instead of Earth and Spirit, it's Earth and Fire. So, I don't remember the season on that one, but this one here is the female of that same guy, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this one is armor 6, Earth and Fire, and that is the female. That one's pretty obvious. You can see the bump in the chest plate, and the arms are a little bit shorter, narrower. Okay, and there is the female of the Evolution 2 of this guy here, I believe? Yeah, okay. So that's the Evolution 2, and it's not always as obvious with these. The clear indicator, like I said, is the shield, has those spikes coming off of it. The helmet's a little bit different, and then there's a little bit of a more decorative design on the chest plate that's a little bit more fleshed out, if you will. So if I open that up here, you can see that the breastplate doesn't have that much detail to it. It's just that top little circle shape there. And then if I go back to this one, you can see there's more detail on the chest plate there. So anyway, that's that one. So next up we have another new one. That one is Earth and Fire also. So we have 2 Earth and Fires back to back. That one's new entirely, as far as I can tell. Has kind of a Decatron-ish look to the weapon, kind of has that neon sort of glow to it. So it may be another, well, I mean, not another special event because it's still Earth, but it has a similar sort of design to it, and the helmet's got this funky sort of grill to it. Yeah, it's kind of cool, I guess. But anyway, that's Earth and Fire number 2. Number 7, Earth and Fire, and that one looks to be the male, fully ascended there. There's the male version of the second Earth and Air. I believe it was this one, yes. So there's armor number 5's male version. There is the male, that's the one I just did, but that's the Evolution 1 version. There's not that white sort of glow on the weapon, and the shield's a little bit different, etc., but that's Earth and Air, just like we had with the previous one. Okay. That is the female Salamander Shield reskin, so that's this one here, number 1, but that's Evolution 1 now instead. There is the female of the Bedeviled Windstaff reskin. It's that unicorn-looking guy, so that's the Earth and Earth, number 1. There is the male Evolution 1 of the Earth and Fire, which I think was this one, yes. Okay, so that's number 1, Evolution 1. There's the base of the male of that first Earth and Air, I believe it was, yes. Okay, so that's the base of this one. There's the Bedivilled Windstaff. That is the male version, so that's the Earth and Earth. There we go. There is the female of the Water and Fire. For whatever reason, that's a Water and Fire in Earth Month. So again, I'm guessing it's going to be some kind of special event like we have to the Decatron, because it's totally element-wise. No, that doesn't belong here element-wise. Okay, so that's that one. There is the female, I believe, yeah, of the same Earth and Air, which was the first Earth and Air. So this one is the female. No, wait, sorry. Yeah, it's this one. Nope, it's not. Where am I at here? Am I losing my mind? Did I just rename a whole bunch of them the wrong ones? Okay, that's okay. All right, there we go. That scared me for a second there. So this one is... what am I doing? This is Earth and Fire. I'm sorry. Total brain cramp there. Don't mind me. So this is this one here, the very last one. I'm getting confused there. Maybe I should have slept a little better last night. Okay, so there is the male. That's the same one, the Water and Fire. That's the male Evolution 1. There is the female of the first Earth and Air, I believe. No, I just did that again. It's the second Earth and Air. This one here. There we go. That one's Earth and Air Evolution 1. There's the male version of that, I don't know what the name of that armor is. Totally drawing a blank. But it was originally Earth and Spirit, anyway. So that's Earth and Fire. That was this guy right here. So this is the male version of that one. There's another new one. Okay, good. Water and Earth. And you can clearly see again the water swirl, the earth effects coming off the shoulders, and kind of the earth, you know, sort of icon right there. That little kind of triangle or diamond shape. That's a clear indicator of an earth armor. They put that in every earth armor. Whether it's earth and fire, earth and water, whatever, it's always in there. So that's earth and water. And that is the male version, I believe. Let's see here. Actually, no, that looks more female than me. I think that is female. I will come back if I'm wrong. Armor 8, Earth and Water, and that's the female, I'm pretty sure. There we go. There is the base, I believe, of the male of the Salamander Shield reskin, whatever. Just about said remix, because that sounds accurate. That is the male, I believe, base. Hang on a second. That's the first Earth and Air. Earth and Fire, duh. Earth and Fire. Second Earth and Fire. I'm not even close. Okay, so that one has that kind of... Let me look here. So there's the same look on there. The weapon has the kind of the neon glow to it. And then we have those. Thank you. Then we have this one, which is... I'm sorry, that's actually the female. My mistake. That one's the female. This one is the male. Or maybe I have that vice versa. Nope, actually this is the female. Never mind. So this one here is actually the female Evolution 2, or Evolution 1, excuse me. The first evolution above the base. Why do we have one of the Decatron dogs in here? That doesn't belong in here that I can think of. Probably just a leftover. So let me create a folder really quick here called Pets, just so I have it ahead of time and I can drop that in there and get it out of my way. Okay. That is the same armor we just looked at. That's the Earth and Water. That looks to also be a female, but that's the Evolution 1. And the clear indicator there, if I go into here and I go back, you can see in the center of the weapon here, kind of in the center of this trident-looking thing, there's kind of a white glow there. This one doesn't have it. So that means that's the Ascended version, or Evolution 1. The shield, or the helmet, also has a little bit more detail in this one, and the shield also has a bit more detail. But if I go to this one, you can see the shield's a bit more plain, and then the helmet doesn't have that front kind of centerpiece going down the middle of the head. So that's that one. Okay. That's the raid armor, looks like. Yeah, it's the same as that kind of stone-looking face boss. So that's the same one as that one there. And this one's Spirit and Earth. So there's the Spirit and Earth raid armor, provided they don't change things up on us again. That should be the Spirit raid armor. The last several I've said, the last 2 months in a row now, they have said that the armors have clearly matched the raid boss. I mean, they look identical pretty much. Even the weapons are frequently exactly the same. But they've changed them so that instead of a reskin, it's going to be the raid armor as the exclusive instead. So don't quote me, but this is a raid armor from all looks at this point. But this is looks to be the female version of that. One thing I also noticed, this is something I just noticed in the past few months. Oddly, the legs are sometimes a clear indicator of whether it's female or male. To give you an example of this, if I go to the earth and water, this guy here, you'll notice the legs are very close together. But if I go to the female, or the male, excuse me, the legs are just a, whoops, I clicked on the wrong one. Actually, I don't have the male of that one yet. Let me go to this one actually just to show you. So here's the male. You can see there's a little bit of a gap in the legs. But if I go back to the female one, there's no gap. Like, it's just the legs are closer together. One thing I noticed that when it's not always as obvious with the breastplate, because the breastplate doesn't always show, this one is a very clear indicator, and these legs look pretty close together. So I'm going to assume for now that this is the female. So this is armor number 9. Again, this should be the raid armor, but don't quote me on that. They've thrown a wrench in the gears more than once. That's the female version of that one. That's the base of the Summertide male reskin with a different head. But I'm pretty sure that's the female. I'll come back to it, of course, and make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the female one. And the length of the arms also, by the way, is a clear indicator of female versus male, usually as well. So, for example, on this, you can see that the kind of this elbow band is closer to the shoulder, kind of the pauldron on the shoulder. It's closer to that than it would be on the male version. So the male version has a little bit longer arm. The body in general is also longer, taller, I should say. So it's also something I found just in the past few months. I hadn't noticed it prior to then, but I just noticed it recently that they're frequently, the arms themselves are shorter and the legs themselves are narrower. They're actually closer to each other. So again, I'm pretty sure this is the female, but don't quote me on that quite yet. This is the male of that water and fire that doesn't belong in these files, just like the Decatron didn't in Fire Month, which was just 2 months ago. Yeah. Okay. That is definitely the male, so I was right. So the first one I looked at for this water and earth here was I thought it was the female, and it was because the legs are a bit farther apart. The chest is just a little bit bigger. So, I mean, the arms are a little bit longer. So I'll come back and verify on that. But I'm pretty sure this is the male evolution 1 of that water and earth, which is this guy right here, I believe. Yes. Okay, let's take this one. And that's going to be evolution 1 of the male. There we go. There's the base of the earth and air, which I believe was this one. No, sorry. This one. Yeah. I'm sorry, is that the base of the female? I suppose it could be. Yeah, I guess it is. Didn't realize I'd already gone through all the other ones. Okay. There is the male, pretty sure, of the water and earth, that very last one here. Pretty sure that's the evolution 2 or the ascended version. That's another new one. That is the male, I think. That could be female. Let me look. Let's see. Nope, I was wrong. This is actually the male. So this is this should be, I think, the last armor. This is Earth and Spirit also. So we have, like with most months, we have 9 regular armors, 2 of each element combination plus the dual. But this time we also have that random water and fire. Whatever reason, there's a water and fire in there. This one has this yin and yang symbol on it. This one looks to be the male. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So this is the male, evolution 2. And since I'm already here and the female is just a couple over, right there, which is armor number 38, or image number 38, excuse me. That's that one right there. And then this one is the, I believe that's the male also. Looks like it. Yeah, pretty sure that is. So this one is the male, but evolution 1 instead. There we go. Okay, then we have the female base of the Salamander Shield reskin, which is this guy here. Wait a minute. Did I do that wrong? Yes, I did. Okay, good thing I'm looking. That's actually the male base, not the female base. This one here, number 39, is the female base. There we go. Okay. That one is the Oh, I messed up again. Surprise, surprise. This one is, let me see, let me go back. So that one is, I believe, yeah, this one is the female. I screwed up. So that one's actually not male. That's actually female. And this one is male. There we go. Ta-da, male. Okay. That's the base of the female of the first Earth and Air, if I recall, which is this one. Yes. So that one is the base of that one. That is the male. Let me look really quick here, just to be sure. I'm wrong. Let me go back. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me not jump too far ahead. Okay, that one I believe is the male of the Earth and Fire, which was, I think, the second one. Yes. So that is, I believe, the base of the Earth and Fire, the second Earth and Fire, rather. That's the male base of the Bedeviled Windstaff reskin. So that's the base of that one. That one is, I'm pretty sure, the male of the Raid Armor, which is number 9. Yeah. So that one's the male, but not the Ascended version. It looks like it's Evolution 1. Oops, no, male. Derp. There we go. Bedeviled Windstaff female version. So that's this one here, but it's the female base. That's that. There is the male base of the Earth and Air, the second one. Right there. Yep. Okay. And we are almost done going through the armors. That's the female base of the Random Water and Fire. That doesn't really belong here, but whatever. Female base. There we go. And that is the Ascended version male. Yeah, you can see actually right here on the arm, there's that gap between the shoulder and the rest of the arm down to that elbow portion. It's a bit longer than the female version. Just for comparison, if I go to here, if you look at the arm right here, there's just that little bit more of a gap. That's how that's one of the things, like I said, I've been noticing. And also the little gap between the legs, you can see it's a little bit more narrow here and a little bit more gapped out there. So it's just one of those things I just noticed, like I said, literally just in the past few data mines. It wasn't as obvious. And maybe it was there the whole time and I just never noticed. It's entirely possible. Okay, there's the male of the Earth and Fire, which I believe was the first Earth and Fire. Yes, it is. That's Evolution 1 of the Earth and Fire. That is the male, I believe. Looks like it. Of the Earth and Spirit, the second Earth and Spirit. Yes. This one here? Yep, okay. So I believe that is the male base, and I will double check these, of course, to be sure. There is the female of the Earth and Spirit, which I believe was Earth and Fire. Duh, what am I doing? Going the wrong direction again, apparently. This is the female version of this one. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, there we go. And that is the female. Well, that I may have screwed that one up again. Let me see here. Look at the arm. That's the clear indicator. Let's go back. No, I screwed it up again. That one's actually... Would you stop, please? Thank you. So this one is actually... Yeah, this one is the male. Pretty sure. Arm. Yeah, the arm's just a little bit bigger, and there's just a slight difference in the gap between the shoulder and the elbow. So that one is, in fact, the male, and this one is the female. Alright. There is the female, I believe, of the Earth and Spirit Raid Armor, which should be this one. Yes. So that one is Evolution 1 of the male, or of the female, excuse me. That is the female, I believe, base of the other Earth and Spirit, which is this guy right here. Yeah. Okay. Alright, that's that one. That is the female, pretty sure, base of the raid armor. This guy here. Yeah, looks like it. Looks like it to me. So that one looks like it's probably the female base. Again, I will check. That is the female base of the Earth and Fire, which is the first Earth and Fire, this one here. Oops, too many letters. Alright, that's the, looks to be the male base of the Earth and Water, which is this one. Yeah, that's the male base, at least it looks to be. And as usual, like I said, I will check. Nope, I was wrong. That was the female. It's not always as obvious until you compare the two side by side. Okay, so 58 is the male base. There we go, so that one's done. That is the male base of the first Earth and Fire, if I recall. Yes, it is. So that's the base of that one, which means that one is now done as well. That's the female, or male. No, I think I may have messed that one up too. Yeah, I think I did. That one is the Earth and Spirit, this guy right here. So just for comparison, shoulder. Yeah, this one's the female. I was right. I did screw it up. This one's actually the male. Putting them side by side sometimes is much easier to see the difference. Okay, and there's the cape. You zoom in here a bit. Looks like we have wolves on the shoulders and kind of paws and stuff coming off the side. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Well, that's the cape. So let's just rename this right now as cape. And then we're going to cut and paste and move that into its own folder. There we go. And there's usually an image shortly thereafter that has the actual cape in it. There it is right there. And let me open it up here so you can see it. So there's the cape. If I zoom in, you can kind of see it's doesn't really seem like it moves much. Because usually with these cape images, you'll have one that shows it kind of in a relaxed pose and then one that's kind of flared out. Like the Decatron, the little wings were kind of in like this on one of them and then flared out on the other one. So it's usually, there's usually one of each in the image, but this one doesn't really look any different to me. Looks the same regardless. So it looks like we have a paw here, paw there, and then back paw behind it. I would assume there would be one back behind here that you can't see, and a tail. They don't really look any different to me though. So, yeah, whatever. That's the cape. Alright, back to here again. So let's go through the heads. So we have, that's the Salamander Shield reskin, that's Earth and Water. So that's this guy here. That's the head of that guy. That is the Earth and Fire, I believe. Is it this one? Yes, it was. Good guess. Okay, so that's that one. That's armor number 7. That's the head for armor number 7. There is the other Earth and Fire, which is, I believe, this one. Yes, it is. Okay, so that's armor number 6's head, which is the reskin, again, of the one that was originally Earth and Spirit. I cannot for the life of me remember the name. There's a pet. There's another pet. There's another pet. There's the head for that one. There's another pet. So let me get the pets out of here really fast. Okay, so we have 66, 67, 68, 70, 66 or 68 and 70, and then 73. So there's the pets. They look like squirrels. Okay, so there's the pets for those guys. Get that out of the way there. We'll start back over here. Okay, so this is the Earth and Earth. That's the Bedeviled Windstaff reskin. This guy right here, armor number 2. And I did mention this in previous Datamine, since we have 9 armors, regular armors, then we have the Water and Fire besides. I normally would put this kind of all by itself on the far right, so 4, 4, and then 1 on the far right, but since there's 10, I'll probably just put it on the far right. I'll probably just put it in the order it came in the file. Even though it's right next to the one that doesn't really fit. So, whatever. That's just the way it's going to come out. So, again, I don't rearrange these normally, except when we have just 9 armors per month. That is one of the Earth and Airs. That one is not that one. It's this one. Yes, it is. That guy right there. Okay. Just making sure, so I don't screw it up, like I've been known to do on numerous occasions. Okay. That is the Earth and Spirit Raid Armor, or at least it should be, which is, I believe, this one. Yes, it is. Okay, so 72 is the Earth and Spirit. Number 9. That is the Summertide Male reskin with a different head. I mean, I kind of like that they're mixing things up and putting different armors in that you wouldn't normally expect. It's really kind of nice to have some change here and there. But it's also kind of weird to be looking for the same, thing over and over again, that you have always always Earth with something, or always Spirit with something else. It's kind of nice that they're throwing out, a little bit of variety in there, but it also makes things confusing when you're expecting to see Earth and something, and then you have a water and fire. So it's cool, but it's weird. This one is the Other Earth and Air, if I recall. Yes, it is. That's that one. I kind of like the look of this one, actually, just without having built the armor. I like the look of that head. For some reason, it reminds me of like a cybernetic pinhead, if you know who Pinhead is. 5 points. I mean, not that that's really that abnormal of a character that people wouldn't know about, but not everyone knows about Pinhead, which is the main Cenobite from Hellraiser. That's the head of that one, which means that it doesn't entirely cover the face. There's still a little bit of face that'll be sticking out here, which is strange because most Shadowforged and Dragonforged, the face is completely covered once it reaches Ascension. But that's okay. That one is the Earth and Water, was it? Yes, it was. Damn, I'm good. Not really. Okay, so there's that one. That's pet number 1, so 78. Oh, we have rings and amulets already. Okay, so I guess we're done with that part anyway. I'm sure we'll have more heads as we go, because I don't think that was all of them. So let's see here. So we have 78, 81, 82, 78, 81, 82, 87, and 96. 87 and 96. Let's get those out of there right now, just so they're not in the way anymore. So that's the other images. These are the images of the animals themselves, and for some reason we have this random Decatron pet in here. Probably just a leftover or something that they left in on accident. Okay, let's close you again. Go back to here. So that's the Bedeviled Windstaff amulet, which looks identical to the original except for the colors. So that's this guy here, and that's the amulet for that guy. And next up we have the ring, which makes it easy. That one is the Salamander Shield, which is the Water and Earth, which is the very first one. It's the amulet for that one. And again, since they're essentially just different color palettes, they're basically the same everything. They just look a little bit different. That's the ring. That makes it easy. The color schemes is different. That's the only change between them. That is the Earth and Air. One of the Earth and Airs. Is it this one? No, that's the Cenobite looking dude. Or Pinhead looking dude, rather. That one? Yes. So that's exactly the same as the shield, just a slightly different color. But same color scheme as the armor itself, just different from it. But the shield is still clearly the shield. That is the Raid armor, which I think was this one. Yes. That's this one here, I think. I'll double check. Yes, it's the shield. Okay. Cool, cool. There's the amulet for that one. And that looks like it's probably the ring that goes with it as well. So let's double check. Yes, it's the shoulder. Okay. And they do that a lot as well. They'll put the shoulder as the main look of the ring itself, is the shoulder plate, the pauldron. Not that abnormal. Okay, so that's one of the Earth and Fires. I believe that's the reskin one, so that's the first one. Yes. So that's the exact same ring as the original one. That's just color scheme change. That's the very last one, I believe. Yes, it is. Armor number 10. So that's the ring for that one. And that one is the amulet for the same one, I believe. Nope. That's the one for the Raid armor. Sorry, not that one. This one. Yes, the shield. That's the Earth and Water number 8. That's the amulet for it, which looks just like the shield. They usually do shields. There's another one with the cape for some reason. Why that's in there. We have 2 copies. Apparently this one probably has more detail to it or something. I don't know. Okay, so that one, I believe, I could be wrong. Nope, not that one. What am I doing? It goes with this one, I think. Nope, not even close. Is it this one? No, definitely not. I gotta look through them all now and look. That's probably this one. Looks like the gear's kind of on the hammer there. It does look a bit like that. Yeah, it has that big gear with the big light in the middle of it, which matches up with that right there. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. Okay, so that's armor number 5's ring. Alright. And that one is the ring for, I believe it was one of the Earth and Airs, if I recall correctly. Which I think is this one. Yes, same kind of look as the shoulder. Okay, cool. So that's this one here. So that's the ring for that one, number 4. That one looks like it belongs with the same one as... not that one. No, sorry, it's this one. Nope. Duh. I just looked at it. I literally just looked at it. It's that one right there. There we go. That's the ring for number 8. Okay. That one is the amulet for this guy here. Yeah, there we go. Looks just like the sheet. Like usual. There we go. And that one is the amulet for... whoops, I didn't put the space in there. There we go. That is the amulet for, I believe, this one? Nope. Not even close. What am I doing? That one. Number 5. Alright. Okay. And that is the reskinned Earth and Fire. Which should be this one. Nope, nope, nope. First one. There we go. So it looks exactly the same as the original amulet, again with the color change. So exactly the same as the previous. And that one is the... Earth and Fire, is it this one? Yes, it is that one, because it has the kind of that same look as the chest plate. You kind of look at them side by side, same sort of color scheme and look and everything. I zoom in, you can kind of see same sort of look and design as that. It doesn't look much like anything else, really. Actually, it looks like the legs. Kind of odd place to look at it, but whatever. So it looks kind of like the legs, but it has the same sort of color scheme and look as the chest plate as well. So that's this one here. That's going to be the ring for number 7. And last but not least, the amulet for the very same armor, I believe. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. That's the amulet for that one. Okay, so let's check through these really quick, make sure I've got everything I need. So, amulet, head, ring, all the armors. Amulet, head, ring, all the armors. Okay. It looks like I'm missing a ring. Unless I named it wrong. I may have. Okay. Looks like I may have named one wrong. Let me look through here. So this is Earth and Water. That one's clearly belongs with that one. That one also looks with that one. That one is fine. There's the head and the ring. That one's fine. This one, I have the... I don't have a ring or an amulet for it. That's interesting. Maybe it's something they're going to issue later. But I don't have an amulet or a ring for that one. Huh. Okay. Interesting. So that's the head for that one. So there's the amulet, head, and ring for the Earth and Air. The amulet, head, and ring for the second Earth and Air, so that one's fine. There's the reskin. I'm going to say Valkyrie Soul Plate, but I think I'm wrong. Let me look really fast. Hang on 1 second. Let me see here. I'm just going to jump onto the wiki here really quick and look it up. So I think it's the Valkyrie Soul Plate, if memory serves. I was right. It is the Valkyrie Soul Plate. So the Valkyrie Soul Plate was originally Earth and Spirit. It was Season 9. So it's 14 seasons ago. Well, 15 by the time this comes out, I guess. But it was released in March of 2017. So it's over a year old now. So they've reskinned that one. That one's pretty old. The Bedeviled Windstaff, though, is far more recent. Let me just double check that one. If I remember correctly, it's season 13, I think. Season 13, it was originally Spirit and Water, and it was season 13. Yeah, I was right. It was actually just in the limited chest. So that's the reskin of that one. And then the Summertide Mail, and I did mention this in the last, well, two streams ago. The Summertide Mail was reskinned into the Title Cut Blader, which was the Water and Air for 2 months ago. This is a reskin of the exact same armor. It does look a little bit different, like I said, not substantially. It does look a little bit different. The shield's a little bit different, the color scheme, etc., because it's still Water and Fire, but they've just kind of tweaked it a little bit and added a new head. But for whatever reason, it has no ring and amulet. I don't know. Okay, so that's that. So for whatever reason, I seem to be missing a ring and amulet. So anyway, let's go back down here again. So this is the Valkyrie Soul Plate. Like I said, this Earth and Fire reskin, this guy right here. That was originally the Valkyrie Soul Plate, Earth and Spirit, but now it's Earth and Fire. So that's a reskin, and I kind of like the look of it. I just kind of like the Fire look as opposed to the Spirit look, which is really the only clear change they made. Okay, anyway, so I'm getting off track. So that's the Earth and Fire, that's a new armor. This is the Earth and Water, which is also a new armor. Then we have the Earth and Spirit, which should be, again, don't quote me, but should be, the Raid armor, which is this guy right here. Kind of has that very clearly, wooden-looking head. That one has its ring and amulet set, and then the last two look to be the crafting materials. Okay, so we have what looks to be an apple with a chunk bitten out of it, and then a little shield-looking thing. So that's usually going to mean that the Earth and Air, which is the one that has kind of that, the one I mentioned that kind of looks like Pinhead, like a Cenobite sort of looking Pinhead dude. This one is most likely going to be the Elite, the exclusive for the month. Unless they decide to throw a wrench in the gears again and make it this one, which it could be either or, honestly. If they follow the same cycle, it's going to be Earth and Air. But they might not. So it's going to be one or the other, chances are. So the reskin of the Salamander Shield will most likely be the other Raid armor, Water and Earth, because it looks, these little spiky guys coming off the sides of the head, the little horns, match the weapon for the boss. So, and this right here again matches the weapon as well. But it's a Salamander Shield. Originally, it was Water and Fire. It was an exclusive, but they've just redone the color scheme and kind of made it a little more busy than the original. The original was far more mellow. Anyway, so this, I'm thinking, this apple is going to be the regular crafting material, and then this kind of broken bit of shield or something is going to be the crafting material for the exclusive. So, again, don't quote me on that, but that's what it looks like to me. So this is SF24, Material 1, and this is SF Material 2, number 24. Season 24. Yes, believe it or not, we're on Season 24. Okay, now we get to go through the fun of copying. I'm going to copy everything over to the other folder where I craft the armor, or I craft the armor, where I put the armor together and place the finished image. I'm just going to copy that over now. I do that with every video, but I'm going to do that now before I actually start the crafting. Crafting? What the fuck's wrong with me? Before I start putting them together, before I start making the actual armors. My brain is not firing on all cylinders. Okay, there's that. So let's also take the Cape and Pets folders and copy them over there as well, so they're already where I need them. That should be it now. So it's time to start putting some armors together. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the mail, 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 and mail. There's the first 5. I'm going to give this a minute to load up because my computer is very unhappy with me at the moment. And I will put these back in order, sort of, the way they were originally. That one is first, that one is second, that one is third, and I believe that one's fourth and fifth. Yes. Okay. So this is the Salamander Shield, as I said. We're going to make this one first. Water and Earth, originally Water and Fire. And again, you might not be able to see the layers section over here in the top right corner, it's directly underneath my face. You'll see it as I add layers, it'll start getting longer and longer as it goes down. But this is just how I do this to get everything set up properly. I have covered that before in previous streams, but again, you probably can't see the layers until I actually add more than one to the original. So you can kind of see there's the layer popping out there, there's number 3, and I will usually create, usually 7 layers each armor. So there's that. And we now have the legs to go behind the torso. It has almost kind of an owl eye looking thing right there on the side of it. I'm not sure if I like this version better than the original or not. It's cool, but I'm not sure if I really like it better than the original. The original was just kind of cool looking in general. That weapon is humongous. One of the biggest armors at that point. Until they introduced the Decatron, which is by far the largest armor in the game, width-wise anyway. There's the armor there. So that's armor number 1. Let me actually move that. It's just a little bit too close to the... There we go. Okay. So there's that armor. The shield and the weapon on this one are massive, so what little effect you can kind of see on the side of the arm there and a little bit of the chest is completely obscured by this guy. It's just massive. Look at the size of that thing. Since it's water and earth, though, earth and water, it should have very good health, generally speaking. Most of the time, water and earth armors have kind of more balanced stats. The earth generally is more defense, water being more attack, so they kind of balance each other out. But generally, most water and earth armors are pretty balanced. And I'm probably going to have to do a separate layer entirely for the weapon because that is a massive shield. And I think I did originally when I did the data mine for the month where we had the salamander shield. I did actually have to make a second layer for the weapon because it's just so massive. I need to actually put that behind this one. There we go. So it actually kind of appears behind the shield. There we go. That's what I wanted. And now I've gotten more notifications that people are following me on Twitch after that's already happened quite some time ago. Thanks for the notification, Twitch. It's appreciated. Okay, so this one is, again, like I said, a huge armor. It was a huge armor in the first place. This one looks to be... looks like they may have taken the weapon and angled it slightly up. It's hard to say for sure, but it looks like this weapon might be angled up this way a bit more, because it used to be more out like this, if I recall, from the original armor. So it looks like they may have angled it up a little bit, which does make it a little bit easier as far as getting it into a smaller size picture. Let's move this up here. It's still massive, don't get me wrong, but it's not as massive as it was, because originally with the weapon being more laid out like this as opposed to up like this, it makes the image itself much wider. So this has kind of shortened it up a little bit because the weapon's angled up more as opposed to being, straight out to the side. So this one is 315-ish. If I recall correctly, the original armor was more like 330, something like that. It was massive still at that point, but it's just a little smaller than it was that way. Anyway, so let's jump into... Oops, wrong folder. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is Armor 1, Earth and Water. This is Male Evolution 2. So that's done. So 1 down. Now I get the Bedeviled Wind Staff, which I honestly like the original version better, by far. This one just... I don't like this color scheme. This Earth and Earth just... I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't like it much. I like the original version better, but then again I like Spirit and Earth, or Spirit and Water armors in general, anyway. But this does look, as far as I can tell, identical in every way, except for the color scheme. So, why that is, I don't know. Why they did this one in particular, I don't know, because this one's far more recent than the Salamander Shield. The Salamander Shield's 5 months-ish older, 6 months older, something like that. It's older, substantially older than this one is. This one's still pretty recent. But then again, Summertide Mail also was, and they've reskinned that one now twice. So who knows? Who knows what their plans are? Same thing with the one I just looked up on the wiki, the Valkyrie Soul Plate. The Valkyrie Soul Plate again is much older. So somebody new-ish to the game may not have known about it because they just don't have the materials to craft it because it was so long ago. So long ago is relative, I guess. It's a little over a year now. So there's the arm. That's the unicorn. People call that one the unicorn. The Celesticorn Bulwark, which was an a spirit and air armor from just a few seasons back. It was season 18, 17, something like that. From the same season as it was actually the ones that were in the limited chest just recently. It was actually from the same season. I think it's the Devil. Was also had kind of a unicorn look to it. So that was the unicorn month for whatever reason. Okay, so this one is the shield. Next up. And that one, there's the armor again. Let's add the shield in now, this massive thing as well. It's not quite as big as the Salamander shield, but it's still huge. This one is most likely, unless they throw a wrench in the gears again, a fusion armor. So this one being Earth and Earth should be very defense heavy, with a little bit of pretty decent HP in general. Shouldn't be too bad in that respect. Bring this up a little bit here on this edge. There we go. Since it's an Earth and Earth, it should be pretty good on, like I said, good defense, really good defense, but also pretty decent HP as well. Pretty decent health. Put that in there, like so. That one you can't really even see the back end of the hilt, the back end of the weapon itself, but I put it in there anyway. If it wasn't there, it would bug me. Most people wouldn't even notice. Alright, so that one's about 300. There we go. Not too bad. That one's pretty decently sized. This is armor number 2. If I could type today, that would be helpful. Okay, and the Summertide Male reskin, which has this new head on it, which originally was the Arcanist's Tome head, but on a reskinned, or rather recolored, more accurate, Summertide Male. The weapon itself is even the same shape and everything. The title cut blade of the weapon itself was longer, it was slightly different. This one is the exact same weapon with a different color scheme. So, not much variation there. And I think in every shape and form, this one is exactly the same armor, with the exception of the head. There's no difference whatsoever that I can see. And honestly, the head doesn't really fit. I mean, the color scheme matches, obviously, but it looks wrong to me because it's not the Summertide head, or the title cut blader head, for that matter. But I did look at the original, like I said just a minute ago. The shield, these little diamond shapes, were there in the original armor as well. They were just much closer in color to the shield, so it wasn't as obvious that they were there. They were there, they just weren't as obvious, because it was kind of more of a similar hue, if you will, to the original, to the shield's original actual color. Alright, where's my arm? There it is. Arm. Now that part right there, I'm not 100% certain if that's the same or not. It looks like it is, but it may not be. It may have actually been slightly redesigned there as well. But that head just looks funny to me. I mean, it looks cool, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't look right, because it's not the original head. And even the title cut blader, it wasn't the original head, but it was just a variation of the original head. So, I don't know. So that's, again, massive shield, just like the original one was. And there's the weapon right there. There's that. I don't even have to clean up that edge much. Pretty clean already. Some of them you do, some of them you don't. Some of them already come, like the Salamander shield reskin was just drop it on top, done. Nothing. You didn't have to do any modification or any blending or anything. This one has a little bit of blending on it, just on that edge of that wrist. And back end of the weapon, which should go about right there, which again you can't even see, but I would know about it and it would bug me. Alright, there we go. So there is, for whatever reason, a water and fire an Earth month. Whatever. 260, yeah, pretty much, almost exactly square. Works for me. That one's armor number 3, water and fire. For whatever reason, that one's in there. Again, probably a special event. They didn't include the ring and amulet set initially, looks like. So for whatever reason, the ring and amulet aren't there. They may appear in a later pack. I'll keep checking. I check usually once a week or so after the initial release, just to see if there's any new packs in there. But yeah, for whatever reason, there wasn't one. There was no ring and amulet set for that guy, which may be something they haven't come up with, or maybe it's in a different pack and I just missed it. It's entirely possible. I may check really quick toward the end here before I finish, see if I can find a ring and amulet for it, because like with the Yule Envoy, that dual fire dude from Christmas time that had the ring and amulet set were just reused. They weren't original to the armor. They were just the armors they'd used previously in a different situation. If I recall correctly, they were some of the earliest Shadow Forged bling that came out in the game, so they were reused from months before. Alright. There's that one. They have kind of gone, I have noticed, and I mentioned this the past couple of streams as well, they've kind of gone with more traditional looking armors. This one, of course, is obviously a bit, overblown, if you will, but it still looks like an armor, like a knight's armor. The head, of course, is a bit overblown, like I said, but it looks like an actual knight's armor, something that you'd actually could see a knight wearing, something that isn't based entirely in fantasy. Again, it's obviously far more eccentric than you would normally have, but it still kind of looks like what a knight would actually wear. So that's about there. So there's that armor. That one's, again, without the weapon and shield, but that's what that one looks like. So far, to be honest, this one's probably one of my favorites. Oops, I might help if I added a layer there. New layer, there we go. Oops. Undo, there we go. So there's the shield on that one. Again, it's got these little flares, but that still looks kind of like an actual shield, like a real shield that a knight could actually use. And this big old huge blade is obviously not very realistic either, but still looks like it could be a real knight's, weapon. This on top of here, like so. I like it when they put these in here, because then all you have to do is just lay it on top, and it's done. Kind of nice. Like with the Salamander Shield reskin that I did just a bit ago. Kind of nice in that respect. Okay, so this one is now in the back. Should go about there. There's that one. That one is probably my favorite so far. This is the Earth and Air. Just because it's probably going to be the Elite. I'm going to say that now. It's probably going to be the exclusive. It's very unlikely they'll use the other one, but this one is most likely what they're going to be using. $290, $240. That's a big guy. So it's pretty wide, but I'm going to say it now. This is most likely going to be the exclusive, since it's has a similar look to a lot of the previous exclusives. It just looks like one to me for whatever reason. So this one is armor 4, I believe. Let me check. Hang on. Yeah. Okay. Armor 4, Earth and Air. There's that one. Okay, and this is the Earth and Air. Now, this one, it's possible this one could be the exclusive. It could also be, just another armor that they use in a war or a raid. Or, excuse me, a war. But this one, the crafting material does look like this. But that's not necessarily an indication that this is going to be the exclusive armor, because they've had, and I've mentioned this in previous streams as well, the crafting material looks like one particular armor, or like a part of one particular armor, and doesn't necessarily have anything to do with it. They've had, I think it was the season 10, I think, if I recall, was the last season where it looked like the exclusive. Like you could guarantee just looking at the files, oh, this is the image, this looks like this armor, and it was, in fact, that armor. It might have been 11, but anyway, it's been a while ago. The crafting materials since then that have looked like an armor have never been for that armor, with maybe one exception. So they don't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that the crafting material that looks like a particular armor or a part of that armor is going to be that armor. So there's no guarantee. It's possible this one could be the exclusive, but I'm going to say, just based on experience in the last year plus of doing this, that this is going to be a war armor, not the exclusive. But I have been wrong on more than one occasion, so don't take that as gospel. But it's unlikely that even though it looks an awful lot like this armor, especially the chest plate and the knee plates and all that stuff, it looks like this armor. But again, there's no guarantee that it will be. So, and there's been several months where they've done exactly that. They've released the the armors, the images for the armors, and the crafting material looks just like one of the armors, and it's nothing to do with it. It ends up, I think, with more than one time that it's happened, the seasonal material that looks like the exclusive, or looks like exactly like an armor, has actually been a crafting material for one of the regular seasonals, but not the exclusive. So it's possible, like I said, that it could be this one, but I'm going to say it's the other one that I just did. Just because I think it's very unlikely they would use this one. While it's a cool looking armor, and probably my second favorite, I don't believe it'll be this one. So, could be, again, could be wrong, but I don't believe it will be. This one kind of has almost what looks like shoulder pads and stuff that you'd wear for football, American football. Why not? I mean, it kind of looks like it, but it's got this big old hammer and this big humongous shield that kind of looks like the head. But it's kind of looks like shoulder pads, and then the knee pads and stuff that you'd actually wear playing football. Again, to be clear, American football, not football everywhere else. Which is, for those who don't know, soccer. For us Americans, we refer to it as soccer. It's referred to pretty much everywhere else as football. Whoops. Paste. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty much referred to as football in every other country in the world that has soccer. They call it football. Or football, depending on your country. Pronunciation, of course, varies, but it's still football in virtually every other civilized country in the world. And even some that are uncivilized. Okay, there's that one there. Like I said, this is unlikely to be the exclusive, but who knows? It could be. We'll find out in about 3 weeks. Let's see here. Put this over here. There we go. This is about 270-ish wide. With most armors, I can usually go off of the width and then just make it square based off that, because it's rare that an armor is taller than it is wide. It doesn't happen very often at all. That one goes about there, so there's armor number 5. And we are halfway done with the armors now. Okay, back to, whoops, I'm on the wrong screen. Back to here. Now we can do the next 5. Should be it. Edit those. Okay, armor number 9. So this is armor number 7. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Okay. So the Valkyrie Soul Plate reskin. Earth and Fire now instead of Earth and Spirit. I kind of like the look of the fire on this one a little bit better than the original, but I still like the look of the original. Well, this one's kind of a toss-up. It's still a reskin, and I wish they wouldn't do it. I wish they would actually use entirely new armors every single time, because they went for a long period of time there, for, I would guess, probably 6 or 7 seasons back-to-back, where they didn't reuse anything. It was all brand new armors. So I'm not sure if the art team changed, or if or maybe they just decided they wanted to keep things more familiar. I don't know. But it was, at one point, whoops, I went too high on that one, new armors every single month. Nothing was ever reused. Except for the one-off, fusion armors, the fusion event armors that happened during the month. That were the off elements, like during Spirit Month it was air or something, that sort of thing. The off-element armors were, reused armors from previous, like, the Metator Reborn, the Mecha Mallet Reborn, all those armors that are the dual elements that were the ones that didn't really belong in that season. They were reused, obviously, but all the other armors that came out around the same time frame were brand new armors. Every single month was brand new armors. I'm not sure what the change was, or like I said, it may have been an art department change. The people who actually make the designs and all these may have changed, and that's the reason why they're just reusing armors, but just changing the color schemes. I suppose it is possible, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the reskins. I like brand new armors every single time. So when I see new armors in the files, when I see like one reskin, okay, that's fine. Whatever, it's going to happen. But this month, there's what, 4? I don't know. That's just, I'm not a big fan of that. But like I said, I don't work for them. So decision really isn't up to me. I wish they would use some more new armors. That's all. I mean, it's the same recycled thing over and over again. Hello, thank you. It's the same thing over and over again. It's just, there's a lot of people have said it, and it's something that is a hot topic for discussion, that a lot of people are saying it's the same thing over and over again. It's getting boring. There's, no variation to it. It's all the same, raid 1 week, armor the next week. Raid 1 week, armor the next week. Recycle, rinse, repeat. It's always the same, and the only difference is that the armors themselves are getting stronger, which makes sense. The armors should get stronger as time goes on. But the power creep has started to get really bad again. For a while there, they kind of mellowed it out so where it wasn't a humongous jump in stats. I did a comparison. I made myself a little spreadsheet because I have a lot of spare time on the weekends and at nights. I made a spreadsheet that broke out all the individual armor stats for every seasonal armor back to Season 1. And I did an average increase over time from Season 1 to Season 2 to Season 3, etc., all the way up to the current. I haven't done one for 23 yet, which we're in now. And the average increase for the first probably 10 seasons was 300 to 400 combined stat points between attack and defense. Every single month they went up by 300. At a minimum it was 300. I think it was upwards of 400 plus a few times. And then around the time frame that Deca took over, they mellowed it out. It went down to 150 to 200 or so about half of what it was previously. So the power creep was very gradual at that point. So if you got the exclusive 5 months later, the same quote-unquote exclusive, the same element combination, would only be marginally stronger as opposed to a humongous jump. So I did that comparison, kind of went through it all, just so I could see, because I was curious to see what the power creep was like. But it was, from one season to the next, at the time, it was 2,000 stat points combined between attack and defense from one element combination exclusive to the next. So it was a massive increase in stats. Now it's starting to go back to the same. Just in the past few months, it started to gradually climb back up again. I think between Season 2 and Season 23, it was about 300 plus, 320, 310, something like that. So it's back into that same range again, which, of course, it's going to need to increase over time. That makes sense. It's part of the core of the game. But it's a humongous jump instead of a smaller jump between one season and the next. So even from season, say, 17 to 18, it was still an increase, but it wasn't a massive increase for a long time there. It was around season 19 or 20 that it started to gradually creep back up again. So just some additional information that people may find interesting. 270. This one's relatively square, actually. This one's 270 by about 250. So that one's pretty close to square. So that one is armor number 6. I think. Derp. Yeah. Okay. Armor 6. Anywho, I'll go back to what I was doing. Like I said, it's something that's been a problem for a lot of people for some time now. It's still a very fun game at its core, but it's becoming very monotonous. The changes in the game are, while Deca's doing an awesome job trying to introduce more variety in the game, it's still at its core the same repeated procedure every week. Myself, I used to play Arena every single week. I'd finish in the top 2,000 at the very least, just on my free energy and my spare time. I didn't try to get top ranks, but I would just play it to get rewards and fusion boosts and keys and whatnot, just because I wanted to stay, you know, relevant in the game. Then they had the issue with the arena, people exploiting the glitch where they get gems and all sorts of things over and over and over again. And then they stopped arena, you know, all the rewards in arena for the longest time. They've now fixed it, and the rewards in arena are actually much better now than they used to be. But they, whoops, I'm talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. Then supposedly I've heard that the epic boss is supposed to be revamped as well, because right now they're just reusing old epic bosses. They may not come up with new armors and new bosses, of course, but they're going to be revamping the rewards so they're a bit more appealing to the average Joe. Supposedly, that's what I've heard. So anyway, hopefully they do that. Hopefully they start introducing some new events, entirely new things in the game that didn't previously exist beyond the community events that we have, that are more kind of driven by individual stats as opposed to community stats, because with the player base, sad to say but true, gradually decreasing, there just simply aren't as many people playing anymore, and most of the people who've been playing for years are retiring and just outright quitting in droves lately. I don't know what the deal is, but everyone just is, they've kind of just gotten tired of it. I guess is the best way to describe it. They've just gotten tired of the same repetition over and over again, and you know, dumping a lot of money into a game that doesn't give them anything really new, I suppose. Anyway, that's just me. That's just my opinion. So, anyway, sorry, somebody's chatting in the thing here. One of the guys is asking me WTF, and I said WTF what? Anyway, yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of people are quitting the game. They're just quitting entirely because they're just tired of the same thing over and over again, which I understand. I get that. More variety is always a good thing. But how much it would take to introduce an entirely new event, I have no idea. I'm not a coder, I'm not a programmer, although I'd like to learn when I have the time to do so, which sadly is not a lot lately. But if I had the time to do it, I would definitely do it. I just don't know what else involved in adding an entirely new event to the game. I think it would be a really good idea, but how much is involved, I couldn't say. So this is armor number 7, I believe. Yes. Armor 7, Earth and Fire. Okay, there's that. Now we have Water and Earth number 2. This is one of the new ones. One of thankfully a bunch of new ones in this month's files. I did, with a bunch of the people in the one of the GM chats we have online, I did actually ask for people's input because I wanted to submit a suggestion list to the folks at DECA so they can kind of get an idea of what we'd like to see different in the game, because it's, again, a lot of the same repeated things every single week, and while it's still fun, it's just getting old. There's a lot of repetition and a lot of monotony to it. Like, for example, I personally hate wars. I hate guild wars, always have. They're too time-consuming for me. Like raids, for example, if you have a few minutes to spare, you can go and spend your free energy and be done with it and go about your day. You don't have to sit there and wait for 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever the time it would take to get to a frenzy. You know, it's just, you don't have to wait for that. You hit whenever you want to, based on whatever you feel like doing. If you feel like just pounding the living crap out of the air raid boss for an hour and a half straight, you can. You don't have to wait. That's one of the things that I like about raids. There's that armor really quick before I move on. You can kind of see that. It's one of the things I like the most about raids is that you can just smash as much as you want for as long as you want. And as provided you have the energy to do it, you can do it straight for 48 hours. Or if you have someone to, help you out, do relief hitting or whatever, you can go indefinitely. You don't have to stop. Where with wars, if you're fighting with, like in an alliance, you have to wait for the, you have to wait to match with another guild that hopefully is friendly. You have to wait for everyone to get in contact with each other to say, okay, are we going to get a strip, or are we not going to get a strip, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff, it's time consuming. It takes too much time. I've never liked them from the very beginning. I'm a guild master on both global and EU, and if I had the choice, with the exception of obviously other people, doing things like Arena or Epic Boss, which a lot of people still aren't doing much of. I would just shut the guild down for a week, for that entire weekend. I wouldn't have no issue with just not having access to the game at all for the weekend, because I don't play much at all on the weekends. On war weekends, I should say. Raids, I'm far more active, but I don't enjoy the game on war weekends. I just would rather just not do it. Been that way since probably the second or third week I started playing the game, and that's been almost exactly 4 years ago now that I started playing. I think it was this month, 4 years ago. I've only been playing on EU for about a year and a half now, I think, 18 months, something like that. 17, 18 months. But I've been playing on global for, I think, almost exactly 4 years this month. So, funny little bit of additional information for anyone who cares. If you ever hear anyone say they've been playing the game for 7 years, you can call them a liar straight to their face, because the game hasn't existed for that long. December of this year, it's been on iOS for 6 years. So it's not even 6 years yet. Unless they were like on a beta team, which is unlikely. The game hasn't existed for that long. It hasn't been available for public usage. This year, like I said, it was December of 2012. So this year, it'll be 6 years in December. So if somebody says they've been playing for 6 years, they're lying. Especially if they say they've been playing for 6 years on Android. Because Android, I believe, was released, they ported it from the original iOS release. Whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself. The original iOS release was December 12th, 13th, something like that. And the Android version of the same game, which was ported over from the iOS platform, was March, April, I think, of the following year. So in almost a year, about 9 months, 10 months, the game will be 6 years old on Android. 6 years old on iOS a few months prior, so in December, like I said. So if anyone ever says they've been playing the game for 7 years, 6 years, whatever, they're lying. It's not physically possible. Just something to be aware of. Anyway, back to what I was doing. I found that rather annoying. I've seen a bunch of people comment that they've been playing this game for this many years and this many years, and while I don't like to call people out and say, you're full of it, are your eyes brown by chance? Why is that? Because you're full of shit? I don't like to do that kind of thing, especially not online, because it's childish and it's not like a pissing match over who's better than who. It's not physically possible that they could have been playing for that long. Just something to be aware of. Anyway, back to what I was doing. I'll stop going on rants as much as I can. Okay, so there's that armor. That's the one of the raid armors, provided they don't change things up on us again. But this month, I don't think they will. It's not as likely that they'll do it this month. And they keep reusing this design on this weapon. I don't know why they keep doing that. That's like the 4th or 5th weapon in a row that has this kind of long spear head thing. Anyway, this month the raid armor doesn't match the exclusive. So they shouldn't hopefully change this one. This should be one of the raid armors. The other one is the water and earth water salamander shield reskin. Okay, so there's armor number 9. Alright, now I just got another notification that I'm being, probably somebody following on Twitch. Yes, that's correct. It may actually be ahead of time on this one, because last stream I was getting notifications in my email like 15 minutes after people had followed me on Twitch. Maybe they just were busy. I have no idea. But anywho, this is the last armor. This one is Spirit and Earth, as I said. And like I said, this little guy right here, just so you're aware, that is a clear indicator. If you ever see that in images, that's an Earth armor of some type. It's in every one of them that I've ever seen. So that one I'm going to have to kind of space it away from the body somewhat, because there needs to be a face in there. So I'm going to slide that one up just a titch, but that should be about where it needs to be. Alright, there we go. And this one, there's the legs, which thankfully a lot of these are really easy to just go, oh, there's the line of that particular part of that lapel or whatever you want to call it, coming off of here and then going down. That's a lapel, sorry. This part down here, you just line it up. Some of them are not quite that easy. You kind of have to guess a bit on where it should be. After you've been doing this for a while, though, it's really not that difficult to do. A lot of it's just lining it up to where it matches or it looks like it should be based on that. And there is that one. So there's that last armor there. Now we're going to get the shield, which looks like a bottle cap for some reason to me. A bottle cap with a yin and yang on it. I wonder what they're going to call this one, because it looks very yin and yang to me. Which obviously it's got yin and yang all over it, but I'm just wondering what they're going to call it, because it has kind of these same runic symbols in the weapon, as well as in various other places, but it's very yin and yang otherwise. There we go. Clean up that edge on that one as well. It needs to be blended a little bit more. There we go. Very big wrist on that one. Okay, so with the exception of the ring and amulet missing for that reskin for the Summertide mail, I guess this being the second reskin with a different head, different helmet, whatever you want to call it. That one, that's the only thing I'm missing in this, and I may have to go back and double check really quick before I move on. Like I said, when I start putting the sheet together, I may have to go back and double check the files just to make sure I didn't miss something, because I'm thinking I may have. Okay, and there's armor number 10, which is also Earth and Spirit. Okay, now we're going to do a new one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one kind of big. Delete the background. New. Oops, I meant to do that like that. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do, like I've done with all the previous ones, is I'm going to start at about the 350 mark, which is about there. Go down to about the 700 mark, which is about here. There we go. Alright, now, I do actually want to put that in the, I want to put this in the background. So, let's go into here. I'm going to jump back into here because I've moved everything into this folder now where all the armors and everything else are. So let's try armor number 1. See if it goes over the top. It goes behind it. That's not what I want. I did have it right in the first place and I rearranged it without needing to. Okay. That one is on top. Actually, I do want that behind. Never mind. I'm retarded. Don't mind me. Okay, there's number 1. So really quick before I move on, I'm going to pause for just a second. I'm not actually going to pause the stream, but I want to see if I can find anything else in the files, because I do have another window here where I've got other extracts and stuff. Really quick before I forget though, this is something I found in the files otherwise. This is a dual earth also. I'm not sure if it's something they're planning on using in the game or if it's just something they're testing with. But this is the male and female versions of the Chronos Regalia armor with a very different color scheme, obviously. But the head is from the hydraulic mecha mallet. I don't know why. Just something I found in the files. I checked it I noticed it originally just after I did last month's Datamine. Again, I don't know why. That's the armors. You can see here that this is an Earth with Earth effects. So it's an Earth and Earth, but whether they're going to use it for something, I don't know. But that's clearly the weapon and the shield and the general look and feel of the armor otherwise of the Chronos Regalia, which is one of the very first Shadowforged armors. It was Earth and Air originally. So whether they're going to use it or not, like I said, I don't know. But it's been that same armor for the past little over a month now. Because I looked in the game files and I was like, well, okay, well this is kind of strange. I wonder what this guy is. But it's just that one armor in the folder all by itself. For whatever reason. Alright. Anyway, let me go back into here and let me see if I can find anything in the files. Let me just go through my original folder where I had all these extracted originally. Going back through all the images just to see if I may have missed it. So far, nothing. It's all looking exactly the same. I'm just double checking to make sure I didn't somehow miss it in there. Yep, I went through all the armor images, the heads, Yep, exactly the same. Pad images in there. Because I copy the files into the folder I work with from the original extraction point, just so I kind of know where everything is and I don't accidentally delete things I don't need to delete. Yeah, there's nothing in there. There's no armor, or no amulet and ring in the other folders either. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So that one I may end up moving out of order. I may end up putting it in the bottom right. I'll put all the rest of them in order generally otherwise, but I may end up leaving that one kind of all by itself on the bottom right side, so it's clear that this one's different than the rest. So it'll be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the very last one on the bottom right will be that random water and fire. Okay, number 2. Oops, I wanted to zoom in, but not quite that much. There we go. So there is our most likely fusion armor. It's been the same for many, many months now, so it's unlikely that they'll change it. Actually, I don't want to put that one in there yet. I want to skip that one. I will come back to you. Okay, there is number 3, technically number 4. Number 5. And number 6. So there's the first row done, with the exception of the rings and amulets, obviously. So I can probably shorten this up a bit, but I wanted to make sure I had enough room. Alright, and then we have number 7 on the second row. That one again kind of has that Tron-looking weapon, kind of like the Decatron did originally. I say Tron, but it's the movie Tron. When I was a kid, like I said in the last stream, it was a really good movie. And the Tron new one, this kind of the sequel of the original, was also really cool. And I like kind of the way that they had expanded on the original storyline. Alrighty. So again, raid armors are going to be this guy here and this guy here. They shouldn't change them this time. The last couple of months they've changed them, but the elite ended up also being the same element combination as the armor, as the raid armor. So they swapped it. So rather than using a reskin as the exclusive, they used the new armor instead. So even though it clearly matched the raid boss, for whatever reason they decided they wanted to go that route. I may have to slide these over a bit because this top row is a bit wider than the bottom one. I'm going to slide you over just a hair, and then I'm also going to slide this guy over a hair as well, so it's kind of more in alignment with the rest. Kind of more like that. And then I'll move this one over just a hair more. There we go. That looks a little better. Let me go back and check and see if anybody said anything in there. Thanks, I guess. I don't know what you mean by that, but you said WTF, but you're really talented. Thank you, I appreciate that, but I don't know what you mean by it. Okay, anyway, back to here. Alright, and we have number 10, which I'm going to put right about there. And then back to the water and fire that doesn't really belong. We're going to put this one on the far right. That lines up actually pretty well. About there. Okay, there we are. So there's the armors. Now I need to go back and start adding the amulets and rings. So again, just like with the original, oops, I need to make a new layer. Getting ahead of myself. There we go. So the original armor of this guy, exactly the same armor and ring with different color scheme. There's that one. Amulet for Earth and Earth. Right about there. Same with the previous. This is exactly the same ring and amulet set. Different color scheme. Alright, there's that one I can skip, because that one doesn't have a ring and amulet set at this point in time. It may eventually, or they may reuse a ring and amulet set from a previous armor, like they've done with some of the fusion armors. The off-element fusion armors, I should say, to make it just a little easier so they don't have to have, new elements or new ring and amulet sets every month. Which I can kind of understand, but again, like I've said before, I would prefer entirely new armors, if possible, every single month. Just because, well, it's cool to have the occasional reskin here and there, and maybe, buff the stats or change the element combinations, whatever. That's cool, but It would be nice if there was entirely new stuff every single month. So that's a suggestion if anybody on the DECA team is watching this. If you're making if you order the armors and stuff in advance, the art I should say, in advance, if you can, try not to do reskins. I mean, while some of them are cool, most people like brand new stuff. Just something to keep in mind. Okay, there's number 7, technically number 6 in this setting, or this layout rather. Alright. This one is our earth and water, second earth and water. About like so. Oops, I went down on that one just a hair. There we go. And amulet for our raid armor. About like that. And there is the ring, which again looks just like the shoulder, but you kind of can't see it because the shield's in the way. And then we have the yin and yang armor. And this random armor all by itself. It doesn't have a ring and amulet set yet. I'm sure it will. It's unlikely that they won't have one. But it's water and fire. All the rest are earth. So. Okay. Now we're going to go in and we're going to start putting the elements on here. So earth first. Oops, actually I can just do it in the same layer. It's fine. I was thinking I could do a new layer for the elements, but I don't really need one for this one. Because it's in the same layer as the rings and amulet sets, and they're not even in the same general vicinity. Anyway, so there's dual earth right there. And there's the earth and air, number 1. That one over just a hair more. Earth and air, number 2. And then one of the earth and fires. There we go. And there's the earth and fire number 2. This is earth and water number 2. Earth and spirit number 1. That one has a little bit bigger icon for the spirit, so I moved that one over just a hair. And I'll come back to the water and fire in a second. Okay, so air. Let's do the air ones really quick first. Earth and air, earth and fire, and earth and fire down here. Oops, zoom in. There we go. Sorry, I'm just jumping around on the page here, making everything all confusing. Okay, and then spirit. For these two over here. And spirit right there, about like so, and then water, which is going to go here and here, and then we'll go over here and we'll drop the water and fire. So again, some kind of special, some sort of special event. I have no idea what. That's that one. I need to move that over. Actually, they're a little bit too close to the feet. There we go. Better. Okay. So there are the armors with ring and amulet sets attached. So that's a good portion of it done. I think we're currently at about an hour and a half. Yeah, about an hour and a half we've been going here, and I am mostly done. I've just got to add in the pets and then the bosses and the cape, and that's it. So let's go back to here. So first of all, let's get the pets in here. Oops, no, not the cape. I don't want the cape yet. There we go. Okay, so this one is the random one there. So this one is, let's look at these actually individually. So that one, okay, so that's tier 1. So 73 is tier 1. Okay, why is this? Okay, so that's tier 2. It's not obvious. 67 is tier 2, and 70 is tier 3. So the only difference, and you really have to look at it closely, is this one here is tier 4. Let me just rename these really fast before I forget where I'm at. And then this one here is tier 5. Has that kind of bloodshot looking eye. So this one is tier 5. Okay, so go back through these again. So tier 1 looks just like a squirrel, regular squirrel. Second one has that headband, but the eye, the pupil, is small. 3 looks more or less exactly the same. There's a little bit something here back behind it. But, hey Niels, a little bit different back here behind, but the eye, the pupil, right there. If you look at the pupil, it's much bigger here. They look pretty much identical, a little bit of a difference on the nose. I may actually have those backwards. Yeah, I do actually. I have them backwards. Oops. Derp. Okay, so this one's actually tier 3. I'm just going to rename this as 3A for a second. And this is 2, and this one's 3. Okay, so there we go. So I did actually have those backwards. So if you look at the face, very, unlined, chipmunk-looking thing. Again, same thing with the headband. A little bit something back here, but you can't really see it. And then this one is a little bit more of a crease on the nose, and the eye pupil itself is a little bit smaller, because there's a massive pupil here, a little bit smaller, then even smaller with this headband and kind of top covering head, and then whatever that design is on top, with the almost bloodshot looking eyes. So that's tier 5. There we go. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go copy number 1 here. Actually, I'm going to do an entirely new layer for the last bit here. So this should be on top of everything, and it is, except for that back line there, which is fine because I'm going to be deleting it probably in a bit anyway. So pets, let's just put, actually, well, before I put that down, make my text box. Almost got ahead of myself there. So I'm going to put this right about here. Oh, I have that thing still selected. Never mind. Okay. So this is my text box. Got in there. I'm going to make this one, I believe I use 26 normally. New Shadow Forged. And before I move on too much farther, let me throw the crafting materials down there. Like so. And like so. There we go. There's the crafting materials. So now I can do the pets. Okay. Oops. Jump back too far. Tier 1. Let's put that right about there. Tier 2. Right about there. Tier 3. I've had really good luck the last few months with getting the alignment on these right. On the left actually looks like it's off, but maybe it's not. Well, I've said this before in previous streams. That is one of the things that just can drive me absolutely bonkers every month. I just can't get the layout right, redo it like 3 times. But for some reason I've had really good luck the last few. And that about right. There. Ta-da! Okay. We're going to do another text box here. This is going to be our pets. Okay, sorry, somebody's chatting with me in the stream. Okay, so there's pets, and back to here, we got the pets all done now. Now I can do the bosses. Boss number 1, which is a reused boss, but you can see the head there is going to line up with this guy. You can clearly see that. So I'm going to put that down about there, and I'm going to be able to shorten this up quite a bit as well. I'm not going to need all this excess on the right or on the bottom. And there's boss number 2, which again clearly looks like this guy right here. You can see they have that wooden head, very obviously the same. get that lined up. That's actually about good right there. I may move them in general, but that's pretty much that. And we can go into here for the text box. This is going to be our bosses. Okay, and I'm going to probably move that, all that right there entirely. Put it about right there. That should be good. Okay, now I just need to get the cape to this guy right here. That's just going to go over here, about in that area there. Should work nicely. And we can go to the text box again. Alrighty, there's the cape. And last but not least, I just need to put on the text and everything back behind it all. So if I take this and now drag this all the way to the back, I should now, hopefully, be able to do this. Zoom out, go bink, bink, bink. But before I do any of that, let me undo those last three. I'm going to save this really quick onto my other folder here where I store all my images. I'm going to save this one as 2018-07, so this is July's file. Now I can take this and go into here, zoom out. Actually, I need to put the elements down before I do that. Hang on one second. I need to put the elements down here. Alright, let's see here, and apologize for the background noise. I've got some people at my house at the moment that are making some noise. Okay, so paste that. So this is going to be earth and water. I'm going to put that right about there. And then water right about there. Should have put the earth down already as well. That's fine. Earth over here for this dude. I didn't put it in the background layer, but that's... Actually, no, I don't want to put it in the background layer. What am I doing? I'm having a derp moment again. This needs to be here. There we go. By the way, it's... Yeah, okay, same layer. Alright, good. Don't mind me. It's just been one of those days. My brain is not firing on all cylinders. Okay, then we have spirit, which is this guy over here. Whoops, no, don't do that. Paste. Thank you. There's spirit. And then water for the other one. So water, so earth and water raid and earth and spirit raid. So as usual with most months, the earth and the water will be first. The earth and spirit will be second. That's pretty standard for the past while. And I just realized I got these a little bit off of where they need to be. Needs to be just a tad lower. About there. Okay, so there's our bosses all done there. This looks a little off kilter to me as well. About like that. There we go. Cape needs to also be slightly moved. It's also just a little bit off to the left or right of where it should be, right about there. Okay, now I can zoom out. Go back to the back layer here. And I can now save that really fast and dump that in there. Still I've selected. Okay, back into here. So background, full. I may end up moving my pets too. They're a little bit lower than I wanted to have them. About like that. Wait a minute, where the hell did that little dude right there come from? In the wrong layer. Go back to here and delete that puppy. There we go. And I don't care about the lines, that's not that big of a deal. I got an extra block of earth there somewhere. Let me just make sure I didn't screw anything else up. Okay, other than that line missing, it's fine. Okay. So, let me move my cape as well. I'm going to move that one up just a little bit so it's not quite so low. Just so it's a little bit higher. Doesn't need to be all the way down there. There we go. That's much better. Okay. And I'll have text, of course, above these two to outline which one's which. Okay, so now, I'll save it again. We'll go back to here. We're going to fill that one in, and that one in, and since I had that line missing, it just filled the whole rest of it in. Okay, so before I move on, I'm going to save that. Actually, I'm not going to save it yet. I need to shorten this guy up. It's still too long. 1150. So about 1500 by 1150. There we go, much better size. Okay, so now I just need to add the text in, which I'll go into here. I'm going to put the text in a different color. So I have that there. That one right there actually is the one I want. Go into here, zoom in. We're going to put in, this one is first row, first armor. I need to center that. There we go. First row, first armor, about like so. This is going to be the second row, third armor. That's the one immediately above it right here. Second row, third armor, there we go. Now I need to change my text, or my text color. Put that down here. This is going to be left aligned though. So this is going to be Datamine July 2018. Add my line ID information in here. If I could type today to save a damn life. Okay, and then we have Twitch, TV. There we go. Okay, I'm going to move this just a hair. About like, actually I may do this. This may make it a little bit easier. It's all the way here in the bottom right corner. Alright, that is basically it. I'm going to save that. That's it. That's July. So I still don't know what's up with this one. I'm going to look and see if I find any more data on that one. If there's amulet, ring, whatever. I don't see anything in there as of now, but I'll check and see if I find anything else. I think I'm basically done. We're about hour 48 minutes now since I've started hour and 45. So I ran a little faster this time than I did the previous times. So let me merge this back up into one layer and then save it as my final PNG file. There we are. Okay, so let me minimize that, and now I have this puppy here is the final copy of the July 2018 Datamine. So I'll be sending this out through your usual channels here shortly. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording in just a moment, and I will also be uploading this video to YouTube and also back to Twitch again after it's done. And I've recompiled everything, but that is the month of July. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. That's it. Everyone have a great day, and it's the weekend of raids, so the raid's already over for both EU and global, so I guess we have a few days, basically 24 hours, not quite 24 for global, and also about 8 hours less for EU. So everyone have a great weekend, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks.